Welcome back. I'm now going to share with you some fantastic tips you can use to trick yourself into feeling full whilst you're on a cutting diet. These are psychological things you can do to yourself that are going to give you a huge advantage and really help you to feel full at a time when you're going to need it most. So let's get started. Number one is 20 minutes before you sit down for a meal, have a large glass of water. And by large, I mean pint size. This is going to fill you up. It's going to enable you to ingest a large amount of water and give your body a chance to recognize that it's just ingested all of this stuff. And as a result, by the time you actually sit down to have your meal, you're already going to be feeling quite a lot fuller. Not only this, but a side benefit of this is the fact that it's going to make sure that you're always drinking enough water per day, which when you're working out is hugely important, especially on a cut. Number two is eat slowly. It sounds simple, but you'd be amazed at what an effect it has on your body and yourself. First of all, normally when we sit down to eat, we just scoff through our meals as quickly as we can and get on with the next thing. When you don't have much food to eat, and this is often the case whilst you're on a cutting diet, really take the time to savour the food and enjoy what you're eating. Think about the flavours, think about the texture, think about the experience of what you're eating, and just slow down. You're going to appreciate it a lot more. And by eating slowly, you're going to lengthen the process. And just as the first tip, you're going to give your body more of a chance to recognise the food that it's eaten. It takes your body about 20 minutes to actually recognise the food that it's eaten. So the more you prolong your meal time, the more of an effect it has. I don't know if you've ever had the experience where you've gone to a restaurant, you've eaten a plate, and afterwards you kind of think, oh, I'm still hungry, I could eat another one. You've ordered another one, and by the time that the next one actually comes, you're already feeling full. This is because your body has had a chance to recognise just how full it actually is. So again, by eating slowly, you're going to give your body much more of a chance to recognise the food that you've eaten, and as a result, feel much fuller by the time that you finish your plate. Number three is to use smaller plates and smaller cutlery. First of all, the same amount of food looks a lot more substantial when it's served up on a smaller plate. So if you size down your plates and eat the same amount of food, psychologically you're already going to be feeling like you're eating a much larger amount of food. The same applies to cutlery. If you're putting less food in your mouth per repetition, not only is the meal going to take longer to eat, but that same amount of food is going to look more substantial on a smaller fork. So it's a double win here. You're tricking yourself into thinking that you're eating more food because it looks bigger, and you're slowing down the amount of food that you're eating by using a smaller fork, and as a result having less on the fork per repetition. Next is to not multitask whilst you're eating. It's actually been proven that you cannot neurologically multitask. Your brain is, what it's actually doing is flipping between two different subjects of attention at a very, very quick rate. But as a result from doing it, you're not giving 100% attention to either one thing or the other. Now, when it comes to eating, if you're on your phone, on Instant Messenger, or browsing the internet, or watching TV, you're not going to be aware of the food that you're actually eating. And as a result, by the time that you've finished your plate, you're going to look down and think, oh my God, has it gone already? So when it comes to eating, focus on the matter at hand and nothing else. And it's going to do a huge amount to helping you feel fuller and enjoying the actual food that you have in front of you. Next is to use the add-in principle. This is the idea that when you're on a cutting diet, there are going to be certain foods that you have to say no to, or especially in certain quantities. So instead of thinking, oh my goodness, I'm just cutting all this amazing food out of my diet, what am I going to do? It's going to be miserable, it's going to be grisly. Think about, what can I add in instead? So think about what kind of healthy, nutritious, tasty foods that I wouldn't normally eat can I add into my diet instead? And if you look at your diet from this point of view, from a positive, abundant point of view, you're going to be far more satisfied with the foods that you're eating instead of being miserable and feeling unenergetic and having a lack mentality. So here are some fantastic tips. Use them wisely, and I guarantee they're going to help you a huge amount.